In this video, I am going to show you how to create realistic looking curly hair in charcoal pencils. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Julieta. I am a portrait artist. And in today's video, I am going to show you how to create realistic looking curly hair in charcoal pencils. I know it's something that is kind of daunting when you first hear about it, but I will show you the step-by-step on what I do to create this look in a realistic way. And I will also show you what are the tools that I use, what are the materials, and I really hope you enjoy it. We will begin by using some charcoal powder like we see right here. This powder was made from a charcoal stick that I rubbed on some sandpaper, just like so. And by rubbing it on the sandpaper, we create our own charcoal powder. And then we use a flat brush, dry of course, and we start shading the area closest to the face, which is where we're going to have the darkest shades. Here I'm making motions on the top part of the head, indicating that we're going to make movements that are sort of circular. Here I'm showing you the brush that I'm going to use. It's a flat brush, dry. And there we start applying a little bit of shading on the top part of the head. And it's always good to try to do motions directed towards the same direction, in the direction that the hair is going to go, for the hair growth. And we'll start filling in all the space. At this point, you want to just lay a uniform sort of layer of charcoal. Don't worry too much about making darker or lighter areas. Just make sure you cover the entire surface you're going to work with. And like so, we keep charging the pencil with a little bit more of charcoal powder. You can go as wide as you want, or you can work in small sections at a time. In this case, I'm trying to cover quite a bit of space with charcoal powder until we start going to the specifics and the details. And it's easier to use, in cases like this, it's better to use a brush, because even though it takes longer, you have more control over the direction of the strokes. Now we're going to use a charcoal pencil, medium, And we're going to go to small sections and use darker values. And with this, we're going to start giving the hair its realistic look. And now for purposes of showing you, I went to the Monozero Eraser right here because I wanted to fade a little bit of that thick line so the transition is not as abrupt. That instead to kind of make the edges a little bit more smoked out. And now we go back to the charcoal pencil. And we're doing the lines that indicate the hair growth and the direction of the hair going in a uniform way. So we keep working on these lines. And at this stage, we're just mainly focused on keeping the same direction in a way that is coherent. And as we keep working on these lines, the shape itself is going to start appearing. And as you can see, I'm always using an onion paper or parchment paper that you can also use from the kitchen, which has the same purpose, and that will avoid your natural oils from mixing with the paper. And now we go back to the brush and we're going to smoke out some of the tough lines and make it smoother. And now we go to a tortillion with the same purpose but with a more specific surface to work with. Smaller surfaces instead of a more broad area such as we do with the brush, just like I'm doing right now. Now we go back to the Monozero Eraser. This is great for smaller areas and for highlights, and that's what we're going to work on right now. So now you can actually see how the hairs starts to get more of a 3D effect once we apply this tool. By giving the hair its brightness and highlight. And as you can see, I'm always keeping the same direction of the hair. It's important for everything to be facing the same way. And in this case, since we're doing curly hair, you're going to see that there's going to be a lot more curves going on versus straight hair, as you can see in some of my other videos. There's one I can think of where the hair is straight, but here we're basically doing the same process with the difference that since it's curly, there are going to be more curves. And at this point, we are going to keep repeating the same process that we did for the birth of the hair, but now it's going to start going outward. And there we apply the brush again. And if you have any doubts on how to move forward, just go back to the reference picture. That will always be your best map to kind of follow what you need to do. And as a general rule, like that we do in every single video, in every single composition, always start from the bottom to the front, always from the background towards the front. because here you can see in what I'm doing right now that there's a curl that is going to start overlapping on top of the back of the hair. And these are things that are going to start happening a lot in this composition in particular, because curly hair is by definition very numerous in layers, because you have curls coming in and out. So that's the beauty of this type of drawing. But you have to be aware and pay attention to how the layers overlap. And a very effective way to make something with layers pop and make it look realistic is right next to the highlight of the part that is closer to the viewer, make it darker right next to it, like more shadow. So that's going to pop because of the different lights, the different darks and depths that are right next to each other. Okay, so now we can see that I have advanced quite a bit with this composition. And in this left side of her face, I have applied everything that I have told you guys about. And now, after achieving a lot of textures, a lot of all the things that I have explained, I go back to the pencil, to the charcoal pencil, and I just keep working on the dark lines. As you can see, I already did a background of a uniform layer of charcoal powder. And at this point, as I keep going outward from the face, I just do the dark lines, following the patterns of the waves, following the patterns of the curls, and the lights against the waves and the curls. And now we go to a tortillion. We go back to these lines that we did with the charcoal pencil, and we start smoking them out. And as you can see, you sort of lose the lines, the sharp lines, but at the same time you don't really lose them. Like, you can tell where the darker lines are. It just makes it look way more natural, smoother and more delicate. I just think it looks so pretty. It's all a matter of starting out and then just keep following the patterns. Now we go back to our Monozero Eraser. This is probably my favorite part of it all, because this is the tool that is responsible probably for most of the realistic look of the hair. You see how I go back to what I did before with the charcoal pencil after smoking it out, and then we go and we highlight the hair. And as you can see, I don't really go crazy with it. When it comes to something like this, less is more, because it's all about making it look delicate and real. So don't go crazy. I know it's tempting, but don't go crazy with this. And if you're not sure what to do, just like I said before, guide yourself with the reference picture. At the same time, you don't want to be too mechanic with this. Give it some natural look. The hair is not going to just follow one line and that's it, because we know how hair is, especially curly hair. It kind of goes all over, but at the same time, it does follow a pattern. So those are the interesting things one has to play with. And some of these strokes that I'm doing with the Monozero Eraser are some of the ones that are going to be on the very, very, very top. Not all of them, but some of them you can see that they're on top of all the other layers that we had worked on. And now, as a final touch to some of those places in particular, I go back to with the dark pencil, with the medium charcoal pencil, in little areas, as you can see, because the more you do that, the more of a 3D effect you're going to give to the hair, the more realistic it's going to look. It's about building the layers, one after another, And the more time you decide to spend on this, the more realistic your drawing is going to look. It's always important to keep these pencils sharp. As you can see, I have been going back and forth so much that I kind of lost the sharpness, but the sharper they are, the better, because the thinner the trace you can do and the thinner it is, the more realistic it looks, the finer it looks. And then we go back to our tortillion to smooth out some of those lines. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I hope you liked it, and I hope you got to learn a few techniques. And please leave your comments and your questions down below, so that would actually will help me create new content and new tutorials for whatever it is that you need, and for future videos. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And also don't forget to grab your free tutorial on how to draw a realistic looking portrait in charcoal pencils. So thank you so much for watching today, and I hope to see you in my next video.